Hello and welcome to our kitchen table. I am sitting here with my wife, your therapist, and today we are doing something totally different on 2 counts. First, we are starting a new special segment, Answers with Ash, where you get to ask your therapist a question and she will answer it. So we've received some questions from listeners. Today we'll be answering one. The second thing that we're doing differently today is normally when we start brainstorming for an episode, we ask, what would be the most useful thing for our listeners? What would be the most encouraging thing or actionable thing that we could present to them?
Yeah.
Fuck that this week.
So the Answers with Ash thing sticking around, this thing is just completely different for this particular episode. We just saw something that looked like fun and decided to do it.
Yeah, we're doing our own thing this week. Normally, or I've heard people like in Hollywood, like Martin Scorsese or some shit like that, say like one for them, one for me. Well, I guess we can establish 27 for y'all, one for us. Today we're going to talk about what we want to talk about because it's silly. We found a list of questions.
Unhinged questions
from a therapist on TikTok, Therapy Jeff. You probably may have heard of him. Highly recommend that you follow him. He put out a video that, Ash, you saw, that had a bunch of questions that were like completely unhinged that you could ask your partner.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the comments were like, I can't wait for the influx of single people this is about to create. So we thought, why not ask each other?
And for the record, neither of us have read through this list of questions completely, so we will be seeing them brand new and answering them cold.
Yep, we're familiar with like the first couple when we saw the list, and that's it.
Yeah, so we'll see what our relationship status is at the end of this episode.
I divorced your therapist.
Oh. More like your therapist divorced me.
Aww.
So yeah, as always, my name is Price, and I am currently, for the moment, married to your therapist.
I'm Ash, and I'm your therapist. Please keep in mind that even though this is a podcast about mental health and therapy, it's not the same thing as or a replacement for therapy, especially not today's episode.
Not today, y'all. Today we're just going to be shooting the shit a little bit.
Let's begin.
So let's start with the question from the listener that emailed in. They said, and again, if you have questions for us, hit us up on social media, or as always, the most tried and true method, imarriedyourtherapist@gmail.com.
Yep.
Email us your questions. We're going to take a few minutes at the top of each episode to answer your questions as they come in. So the person asking the question asked us to talk about erotic transference between a therapist and the client.
Yeah.
I did not know what that meant when I saw that email. I still don't totally know what that means.
Yep.
But I want to take a crack at it. Transference and transfer are very similar words. An erotic transfer to me is you're at a strip club.
Yes, correct direction. Carry on.
You're at a strip club. I'm on the stage dancing, obviously. Price,
Obviously.
why are you the person dancing at the strip club? Because I have garbage in the back of my car, or an elephant with something stuck in his snout.
Oh, no.
Junk in the trunk.
You would be a great dancer.
I am a great dancer.
You
the
are.
Fuck? Junk in the trunk. You pull out a greasy, slimy dollar bill and you stick it into my G-string, and I wink at you in appreciation. Ding.
Yeah.
That is erotic transference.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's it. So what, as a therapist, do I do about it?
So I'm guessing that in the session, there's some dancing going on, some exchanging of funds
There's
happening.
always dancing going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, in all seriousness, what is erotic transference, and what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so you should know what transference and countertransference are. Transference is when a client has feelings for their therapist that might reflect feelings that they actually have in like the external world somewhere. So you might have a therapist who's like an older man. Hello, Lafayette. Lafayette's the cat. Hello, Lafayette. So you might have a therapist who's an older man, and you might feel toward him as you do toward your father. Maybe if you're angry toward your father, you like take that out on him, or maybe you feel like warmly toward him or whatever, but you feel that way about him because he reflects this thing in your external world. Countertransference is when a therapist feels that way toward a client. So
it works both ways.
Yeah.
Or it
so
can
it
work
can
both
work
ways.
either way, and
Okay.
there's a name for both of them.
Okay. So what is erotic transference then specifically?
Erotic transference would be when a client has erotic or romantic feelings toward their therapist.
There's a distinction between erotic and romantic in this context, right? Like what's the difference?
I guess I'm not sure which one this person was asking about. Maybe it's specifically you have like really sexual feelings toward.
I mean, they said erotic in the email, so.
I am pretty sure that erotic transference is just the name of this particular type of transference. I think that it would apply to romantic feelings as well, but I'm not totally sure.
Okay. So this is like, I'm catching feelings from my therapist. Is that like really what this means effectively?
Yeah, that's basically what it means.
Okay. So what do you do?
So I don't think that this is incredibly uncommon. It's not something that I've personally encountered in therapy, not something I've had a client bring up to me or that I've like picked up on. But I don't think it's all that uncommon because it might be the first person to be like really kind and interested in you and the things that you have going on in your life and encouraging you. And if you're not encountering that anywhere else, or even if you are, but not to that extent or whatever, there's something special about this relationship, you might start to feel attraction. We're humans. We're set up to like feel attraction toward people who treat us like that.
Right.
When we finally find that thing, that's great. In this situation, it's really inappropriate. It's not your fault that it's happened. Again, I think that can be common. But it's inappropriate because there's an incredible difference in the dynamic of power that's present in a counseling relationship. That person has a lot of information about you. You don't have that same sort of information about them. Our code of ethics forbids that from happening.
It is forbidden.
And it's to protect clients. It's because that's not an okay, balanced, fair relationship for you to be in. So,
and it's not okay. Like I've read recently about therapists who have had their licenses revoked because they started up a relationship with a client that was inappropriate. And it wasn't like everybody was on the same page and happy and they're consenting adults. It's like no, that any relationship that exists out of a therapeutic one or grows out of a therapeutic one is inherently like going to be flawed.
Yeah.
Is going to be inherently like imbalanced.
Yeah.
Because imbalanced, who the fuck knows?
Who knows?
Who could know?
How could one possibly know?
How could one find that out?
Yeah. So it's not appropriate, and it makes me feel, when I got this question, when I read it, it makes me feel a little bit anxious or uncomfortable to think about because it's just such a like, whew, that's a tough situation. But my hope, because of this imbalance of power, my hope would be that you are able to tell your therapist. If a client were telling me this, I'd want to explore why that were happening. What is it about this relationship that feels like special and safe to you? How can we go out and find that? With somebody else, I would explain why like that's not possible and why that's inappropriate.
What about the folks who are like really interested in the forbidden fruit, you know, because your therapist is like really one of the only people that you're not allowed to have a relationship
literally
with.
Not allowed to.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm interested in.
There's a lot of reasons that people are attracted to something that's forbidden to them, and those are the sorts of things that we explore in counseling. That said, it might be that counseling relationship isn't helpful anymore and that I'm needing to refer them out. For instance, when I was in school, there was a female therapist and she was seeing a male client who was straight. He developed some feelings for her and he stopped being able to share in counseling because he did what we do on a first date. Like he was kind of only giving the best parts of himself and keeping everything else back.
Right.
And she had to help get him connected with another male counselor where he wasn't going to be as likely to have those feelings.
I think it can be a little tragic or kind of sad, really. If you're really falling for a therapist, it might be because they are being kind to you and you're not used to being treated kindly.
Yeah.
But remember that, like, that your therapist being a part of your support system is like, you're supposed to have a system. You're supposed to have numerous people in your life who treat you well.
Yep.
And if your therapist is really standing out amongst the people that you know, I think that speaks to the lack of support that you have.
Yeah, and that's true for so many people.
So many people. Most people, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is a person who is doing their job. And their job is to be close to you and friendly and trustworthy.
Yeah.
You know, all of the things that check all of the boxes.
Yeah.
But it is a job.
Yes. Yeah, I feel such genuine affection for my clients. But
like you tell me all the time, you wouldn't if it was free. I'm just fucking kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's horrible. No, I genuinely feel that way toward my clients.
You do.
But yeah, I'm very aware of the imbalance of power there.
This may sound so cringy to say, but like one of the things you struggle with is charging them in the first place. Which,
oh yeah. No, you should know. If you go to completely separate issue, but if you go to therapy with the concern that like my counselor is just paid to like me, you should know one of the primary things that therapists struggle with is charging clients for sessions. Across the board, we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And
because you want to help. You got into this field,
right.
this profession to help.
People get into the profession because they want to love and take care of people, because they like being part of that process in some way. They're a healer.
But don't confuse that with like emotional availability beyond that therapeutic relationship.
Yeah, our relationship is inherently not one that could support somebody being the therapist. Like, that's an unbalanced relationship. Same thing is true in counseling. That doesn't work.
I'm pretty sure you mean imbalanced.
Imbalanced?
Who could know? New Balance?
Non-balanced.
Non-balanced. Okay, well, I think that is a great summary to our first Asking Ash. Okay, let's jump over to the unhinged questions.
Let's do it.
Let's see how strong this relationship really is. Question number 1. Again, Therapy Jeff. Follow him. Full credit to this list.
Yep.
For this list goes to Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff, you're great. Presumably. I'm not on TikTok.
Okay, let's get it.
Question 1. Imagine a situation where someone offered you money to go no contact with me for 3 months. I'm not sure anybody would have to offer you money.
That's horrible. I don't want to spend any time apart from you, but I definitely think that we could agree that we would go no contact for money.
Well, the rest of the question is, what would be the minimum amount that could make you seriously consider it? What's the minimum amount? So, because immediately my thought is like, well, yeah, I would do it for $100,000, no brainer. But that's not the question. The question is,
minimum amount?
What is the minimum amount that you would go no contact with me for 3 months? That's a big question. First of all, I am your like human Sherpa. I am your like guide through this life. You're a little neurodivergent brain.
You're my support person.
And you are my support person. We do a lot for each other on a day-to-day basis to kind of like run the house and like take care of each other. Ooh. We cover a lot of each other's bases.
That's so true.
So like as like cliche as this sounds, life would be harder, much harder for me on a day-to-day basis without you reminding me to take my meds. True.
Oh my God. We would have to set up so many things ahead of time. That just like reminders for ourselves, things to make. We'd make a whole plan.
The Post-it
put
budget
some meals
alone.
in the freezer. The Post-it budget.
Yeah, with Post-its everywhere, like reminding me.
So the minimum amount has to include the Post-it budget.
Yeah. I'd do it for like $800.
Okay, I wouldn't do it for $800, but I'd do it for like a couple thousand.
I would do it for, I think like $9 or $10 would be my minimum that I would seriously like, okay, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about doing this.
Yeah, $9 or $10 in addition to like your income. Yeah, that would like, we would get to do something to the house. That would be awesome. Go on a trip for 3 more months.
What kind of fucking trip?
I don't know. I just want to travel.
3 months on $10,000. And this is like an international trip. I know you. This is like we flew there.
Okay, maybe we go for a week on 10 grand.
A week on 10 grand?
Like
Man,
a really nice
I wouldn't
trip.
even know how to spend 10 grand in a week. Like,
No.
I've never had that kind of... Guys,
Okay, so
we're
for
starting a
10 grand-
Patreon. If you want to
For
send us
10
money.
grand, we will go on a trip. Thank you.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think like 10 grand is kind of my high water mark there.
I'm with you.
Okay. You ready to move on? Next question.
Let's do it.
Hypothetically, if I confessed that I had cheated on you one time, little gasp. If I confessed I had cheated on you one time right after we defined our relationship, but it never happened again, would you stay with me? Let me take this question first.
Okay.
On behalf of my ex-girlfriend. The answer is no. The answer is no. I said, hey, things are getting really serious. Something that I think you should know about something that happened early on in our relationship. And I told her what happened. And she was like, hit the trails, partner.
No, thank you.
Like, oh, you're shitty.
You're right. Things are getting serious, and that's a no.
That's going to be a no for me, dog. Can't blame her. Can't blame her.
No.
Proud of her. In retrospect, proud of her for making that call, you know?
Whew. There's a cat fight going on in the other room. A literal cat fight.
Hope they're okay. Hope they work it out.
Hope they work it out. Oh, the dog's going to help. That's perfect. Yes. I'm not saying it wouldn't be hard. That would be really difficult. But a decade ago, if something had happened...
yes, you would stay with me.
Yeah,
yes.
I would stay with you.
Okay, but a decade ago...
I would stay with you. It happened a decade ago. We were very different people back then.
I'm
that
so
would be hard to
uncomfortable
learn.
with the thought of like us making adult decisions because we were 19 when we started dating a decade ago. Jesus. Ugh. Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Old people are gross.
On behalf of ourselves at that age.
I mean, at a certain point when you're aging, you find out that like, oh, I can just get scissors and cut this nose hair out. I don't have to pluck this anymore. There's so many, and they come in so frequently. I can just cut them. I don't have to tweeze them anymore. And like that's objectively disgusting, you know.
Oh,
but anyways, if I cheated on you a decade ago,
it's getting easier to. Yeah, no, it's been a long time. It hasn't happened since then. I would stay with you, but it'd be tough. We'd have to.
We were just such different
figure that
people then.
We were such different people. We were living so far apart. We were really struggling with some different things. I think that, yeah.
The toughest thing for me, if I was in that situation, would be the thought that you had not told me all this time.
That's exactly what I think too. That after this long and everything that we've shared, if you hadn't shared that, in fact, that's one of the things that I love about you. You're a compulsive truth teller. You would have absolutely told me. In fact, I remember you telling me about the conversation with the ex-girlfriend at the time and being like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, had to tell him.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I mean, 10 years is a long time. It would hurt, but that's way in the past. Like,
yeah.
You know, we can look just at the past 5 years, you know. If you had cheated on me like 5 years ago, it's all fucking over, though. That's not even a conversation.
No, I hear that. That was a different time.
I'm joking, kids. I don't really know how I would feel about you cheating on me at any point. Because you haven't, right?
Right. On to the next question.
If you had learned that I had been hired to date you as part of a social experiment... where very hot people dated complete losers like you.
Like me.
Like me. Would you be able to forgive me?
Oh, 100%. I would just feel really grateful that out of all of the losers, you picked this loser to be with.
For me, I would just be grateful to know that I am a loser. Because I've suspected for quite some time.
I'm just glad to have that confirmed.
Objectively confirmed. I am a loser. You're the hot one. Done. Easy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for picking me.
Yeah, no, I have no issue with that.
Now, if it were
that would explain some things to me.
If it were like a Truman Show situation and I was like being monitored or...
Oh, that's horrible.
That would be different. But what I think we're describing here is that you were just hot. I'm just a loser. And honestly, in that situation, I would just be grateful. I'd be grateful to have my worst fears confirmed.
Just to have it down for sure.
I mean, I've suspected this for a long time.
No, I would... Yeah, thanks. I'm so glad you picked me.
Yeah. So you would forgive me then if you found this out?
Sure. It would explain some things to me. I mean, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
What would it explain to you?
I've always felt that way.
You've always felt that way?
Yeah.
I felt that way too. Aww. Oh, we're so pathetic. We can't leave each other.
Okay, what if it's a social experiment where we both think that we're the loser in this scenario?
I'm pretty sure that is the situation.
Everybody on the show is losers.
Okay, I think we have our answer to this one. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the next question. If you found out that our first meeting was not a chance encounter, but was actually arranged by me, how would you react?
I would 100% believe that that's what had happened.
Really? Our first meeting happened many, many years ago. We were both 16 years old when we met.
Yeah, many years ago.
I remember the situation. I remember what happened exactly. Mm-hmm. I walked up to you. I'm not going to go into why, but we were both with a bunch of our peers, a bunch of other high school students at Columbia International University.
Yep.
And we were in the common room, or the student lounge or whatever. And we walked up, or I walked up to you and a group of people that you were standing with. Mm-hmm. And there was a dispenser, a
hand sanitizer dispenser.
Yeah. And tell the people what happened.
Well, this is not the first time I saw you, but yes, there's a hand sanitizer dispenser, and Price walks up and gets some hand sanitizer, snorts it, and goes...
I don't snort it.
Oh, snorts it!
I do not snort it. That implies it went up my nose. I just sniffed it.
Okay, he inhales strongly, doesn't get any hand sanitizer up his nose, not a single drop, and then he exclaims, I love that they have free Get High stations all over this campus. I saw you prior to that, though, and I thought that you were gay, so...
Why do you gotta tell the people that?
I liked you. I thought you were a cute gay kid.
Do you think I'm gay now? That's the question. Do you think I'm gay now?
And I didn't by the end of that encounter either, so...
Would you walk in, like, me refusing to, like, plow another dude? You're like, he might be gay. Oh, I guess not. All right. So what if you thought that the reason we were at Columbia International University... I cannot believe you just said you thought I was gay to everybody. I know that that's true, but...
You guys have to hear the context of this story. Some other day, some other time, you can hear the context of that story. You too will understand why Ash Baker, thought that Price Baker was gay.
She walked in on me making out with another guy.
That would make me think that you were gay. Or at least a little bi. But that's fine.
So what if you thought I set up that entire, like, week-long event just to meet you?
I love that.
Now I've disappointed you. I didn't. I just happened to meet you there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had set up a whole speech and debate tournament, and in fact...
This story gets less flattering the more you talk. Like, first we're on campus, then Price is gay, and we're at a speech and debate tournament in high school. And like, we know Price wasn't gay because Price wasn't getting any from the men or the ladies back then, because it was a homeschool Christian speech and debate.
Now we're getting into it. Yeah, if you had set up that whole tournament, which was in fact a part of a much larger national organization, just to meet me, I'd be impressed.
Girl, I'd move mountains for you now.
I know.
But I would not go to a homeschool speech and debate tournament today for you.
Never.
I'll never do that again.
Let's never.
Okay. It really made me look like a really lame person. And I'm not. I'm cool. I'm very cool. My mom said I'm cool.
That's right.
All right.
What if I had set up the whole speech and debate tournament, which I lured you to?
I'll say one thing about that, and then we'll move on to the next question. I'm not sure you didn't, okay? I'm not sure you didn't set that up as an elaborate ploy to meet me.
I did.
You might have.
I did.
And I would, if you told me that you did, I would believe you.
I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're like, I'm trying to meet gay kids.
I'm really trying to build my queer community.
All right, next question. You have a one-time use time machine. Already, I find that problematic. Can I get back?
That's
Am I
my
stuck
question.
there? Let's read the rest of the question. You have a one-time use time machine, and you have to use it to alter something in our relationship. What are you gonna alter? I know what I would alter.
What would you alter?
The minute that you saw me, I'd be like, hi, I'm straight.
I think I would have not cared about you, and that would have been the end of things.
That's true. What could I alter? There have been some fights that I'd go back and take back some things I have said, for sure. There have been, I don't know, like, what's the worst thing that I could undo from our relationship?
Well, the tough thing is, okay, so the first thing that comes...
Oh, I know.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just occurred to me.
Was it cheating on me before we defined the relationship?
That didn't happen.
Okay, sorry. What was your thing?
My thing is our wedding.
I was thinking that too.
I would control, alt, delete that entire fucking day.
Yes. I would do what I wanted to do instead.
Our wedding made complete sense on paper. Like, it was a beautiful ceremony. Our friends and family were there. We had a lovely time celebrating with everybody. It was in a cathedral, or in a nice chapel.
Yeah.
It checks all of the podcast host. It checks all of the boxes. But I didn't have a good time.
No,
it was.
That day wasn't about us.
No, it was about making everybody else. Like,
it was about fulfilling all of the social expectations of being like the firstborn and some of the first kids getting married out of our generation of like the very Christian homeschool groups we were in.
It was like a sense of obligation and duty, especially to our parents.
Yeah.
To like do this performative thing. Like,
yeah. It was beautiful. It was everything that it could have been. Your mom and your sister were such an integral part of like being able to pull that day off as well as it went. Everything was lovely. Not for us. Not what we would have done.
No, we had like a dear family friend like actually perform the ceremony. Like, again,
I'll never regret that. I'm really glad that happened.
But it checks all of the boxes. But I didn't. Like, my ideal wedding would have looked a lot different.
That's so funny. I was thinking the same thing because I'm thinking about things that I would alter, and not to always go back to this, but I was thinking like, man, I wish we could have been sober sooner. Like, that was the root of so many fights. But me going back in a time machine wasn't going to change that. Like, that needed to run its course. That was going to be what it was. So I'm trying to think, what could I change? I would tell those two kids to go get married the way that they wanted to.
Yeah.
To me, that was like the two of us go to a courthouse with two of our close friends, and then we go get dinner, and that's the day.
Yeah. I'm just picturing you, like, breaking in, like, Price, put down that can of PBR. Stop drinking. I'd be like, I'm from the future. I'm like, fuck you. I don't care where you're from. I'm going to keep drinking because I have, like, severe emotional issues.
You whine about this in the future, too?
Oh, you're a bitch then, too?
Yeah, that's what that would have played out like. I don't
Jesus
need that.
Christ, I get enough from you now. Now I'm hearing from you then? Fuck,
I don't
dude.
need, like, abuse from past younger Bryce. Like, that's... No.
You come back to our present now, like, man, you're such a dick.
Oh, no, but that, like, speak now or forever hold your peace thing. Imagine somebody stands up at our wedding, but it's us. We're like, don't do it. No, but I'd want to stop that so much sooner. That would have been that year when we were starting to plan. It would have been like, no, don't.
I may have thought of the wedding because the word altar is in the prompt. What would you alter? And I was like, we got married at an altar. I would alter that altar. The altering.
I'm with you.
Next question.
Next question.
If you could meet me 10 years earlier and start our relationship then, would you do it? Why or why not?
100% yes. 6-year-old.
6-year-old Ash and 6-year-old Price in a committed relationship.
I read this short story once that I loved, and in it she says something about like, if I could have just gone home with him from the hospital, I would have. I wish that I could have lived my whole life with him.
Like a
I think
stalker,
every time you hear that, you're like, ooh, that's weird, that's gross. But I always think that that's true. I would have just been with you. We weren't the same people. We were children. I don't think things would have worked out, but Yeah.
There are frequent times where you share something about your childhood, and I was like, man, I feel like, man, I wish I could have been your friend then, because I
Yeah.
would have been a very good friend to you at that time, you
Yeah.
know. But no, I wasn't ready. My answer is no. I was not ready emotionally to be in a committed relationship when I was 6. I'm pretty sure I was still like, mommy and I are going to live together forever. And I'm going to play with my blocks and my train. And I'm going to watch Barney. How old are 6-year-olds? Anyways, I get that they're 6. How old are they really? You know?
Little, right?
Yeah.
Like really
I don't
little.
spend a lot of time with like children, you know?
I had just moved to North Carolina. I had cried because I left Florida. I would soon later that year cry driving back to Florida in case we accidentally moved there again because I didn't want that to happen. I loved North Carolina. I don't know. I think that I would hang out with you then, but I totally respect the no. It wouldn't have worked. I know that's true.
We were just kids. We were too young.
Kids.
We were too young. We were too young. You know, what can I say?
I don't know that we would have gotten along at that age.
Okay, here we go. Here's the next question. If the world was ending in 30 minutes, isn't it? It feels like it is.
Yeah.
So really, I'm just the status quo.
Right.
We're in our status quo.
Things are as they are right now.
And I was trapped in a room with my most recent ex. Would you be mad if I hooked up with them?
The world's ending in 30 minutes?
The world's ending in 30 minutes. You're trapped in a room.
No, go for it.
Go for it?
Yeah, go for it.
You crazy kids. Fuck each other's brains out.
I don't care. I'm not going to know.
You're not going to know.
The world's ending in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You should have some fun where you can. I don't care.
Here's what I want you to consider. If you're ever in a situation where you see a nuclear explosion, you see the mushroom cloud, you see the flash of blinding light, and you know it's all over. I just want you to think in your heart of hearts that I'm out there getting my rocks off. I had to really think about that. With you know.
Yeah. With the ex.
With the ex.
I would really be trying to call you in that period of time or something. Also, how are we so far apart? Did it occur during the 3 months that we were taking the separation?
Yeah, during the 3-month separation, you can't go hang out with your ex.
That's not allowed.
Yeah.
How did you get in the room with her in the first place? But those things aside, let's say that this happened completely randomly. Get it.
Get it while the getting's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I'm actually with you there.
I would not have sex with my ex if it were 30 minutes till the end of the world and the two of us were trapped in a room. Absolutely not. So I appreciate...
You're doing him dirty right now. Does he deserve to be done like that?
Not. So...
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well, moving on.
Moving on.
Suppose you found out that every sweet thing I ever said to you was written by your mom.
Wait, by my mom or your mom?
So if I'm... Oh, God.
Okay, wait. Just read the question as it is.
Suppose you, Ash, found out that everything I, Price, ever wrote to you was written by your mom, Ash, by Joelle.
Uh-huh.
How would you feel about that?
Why? Okay, I had two very separate thoughts. One was there's no way. Why doesn't she talk to me as nicely as you do? The other side of that was my mom finds me very attractive. Like, very attractive.
I was like, Joelle, Mom Award. Wow, this is pretty erotic.
Wow,
This makes me uncomfortable. So, yeah, how would you feel about it?
Just flabbergasted as I do now, thinking of that scenario.
Flabbergasted. Yeah. Would you trust anything I ever wrote to you ever again?
No, I'd be like, we should probably speak directly from now on.
Yeah.
That's just such a disconnect for me. It feels so far from the realm of possibility.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
Not because of the context of this question, but just my mom writing those things. No, I don't think that that's what's happened. I wouldn't believe you. How would you feel if your mom were the one writing everything that I've said to you over the years.
My immediate thought would just be, I would be so impressed. She really captured your voice. She really, really made me think it was you, you know?
Yeah.
I think that you have written me some incredible bits of poetry over the years. You have written some very encouraging, sweet notes and stuff. And if I had found out that that my mother had written those through you, yeah, I think I would be hurt.
Yeah.
I think that would hurt me. I think that I wouldn't be like, this ends our relationship. Most of the stuff you've written me has not been overtly sexual in nature, so I wouldn't feel like grossed out necessarily, but I would feel kind of like led on or lied to, you know, because the things you have written have meant so much to me, and to find out that they weren't you would be upsetting for sure.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That would... back to flabbergasted. But yeah, I would be hurt if you didn't write the things that you did. We were recently watching that South Park episode where everything's written by an AI.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit like that. Like the things that you write matter to me because you wrote them.
Yeah, not because of what was written.
The things that you've written have been like lovely. You've written songs and poetry. You've written like beautiful letters. That stuff has meant a lot to me, but it means a lot because you wrote it.
Let's go on a quick tangent that's very related to this.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got this whole ecosystem of like thoughtful notes and cards where the expectation is for you to go browse the card section at the Walgreens to find the Hallmark card that just says what you're trying to say perfectly.
Yeah.
And I think that is fucking bullshit.
Yeah?
I do not give a fuck what card you chose for me and signed your name to. Write something yourself. I do not need you to go spend $8 for like what somebody wrote in a corporate office.
They're so expensive too. Yeah, I'm totally with you.
I don't care. I don't care about them so much. I don't read them. If I get a birthday card, I do not read. I only read what you wrote. I do not care. I do not care. I do not care. I cannot like wrap my head around, oh, this message is from you when it's not from you.
Interesting. See, I haven't ever minded that before. But certainly the cards that mean the most to me are the ones that I've hung on to have been handwritten ones.
Of course. Yeah. You don't hold on to, oh man, I just cherish this card that they forgot the minute they grabbed it off the shelf and like checked out at the Target or whatever.
Yes. What this is reminding me of, though, to go back to speech and debate, is the joke that...
Perfect.
Yeah, I thought you would want to return to this. Is the joke that your mom helped to write all of your speeches, and I fell in love with you to some extent about your speeches. And so in some regard, I really just fell in love with your mom's writing.
I wrote those speeches. What the fuck?
I thought...
Mom helped. But I wrote the speeches. What the fuck?
Sorry.
You're really doing me dirty with that. I thought that the questions would be hard. And they are, apparently.
But what's really unhinged is my wife. Your therapist.
My wife, your therapist. Shall we move on to our next question?
Let's move on.
Okay. We only have a few more left.
Okay.
Suppose you had a chance to relive our relationship from the start, knowing everything you know now. Would you make the same choices? If not, what choices would be different? Ooh.
The wedding, man.
The wedding.
The wedding.
We made a lot of moves.
I would make all of those moves again.
Okay. Jacksonville to Tampa to Chicago to Charlotte to...
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't think of any... I would like... Once again, like go back and coach myself through some of the fights. Like, stop doing this. This isn't what you need to do.
Yeah.
But I would do all the big stuff again.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any of the things that we've done that I wouldn't do again.
I would have more directly supported you getting into school and getting your license and all of that sooner.
I feel like we did that as soon as we could.
I think we did, but I think that maybe a kick in the pants would have helped me kind of focus on that. You know? I feel like a lot of people might say, I wish we had done more traveling. I think we've done a good bit of traveling.
Yeah, when I think about the times we haven't traveled, it was mostly like COVID related.
Yeah.
Like we traveled as much as we could.
Maybe wouldn't have gotten so many animals.
Ooh.
Maybe
Yeah.
wouldn't have.
Okay. I would never.
This is about to get real. I can tell.
I would not trade our perfect dog that we have for anything in the world. But we got her at the worst time.
Yeah.
Just the worst time. She radically changed our life. We had just moved to Chicago. We were having a great time getting to like explore the city and travel and doing all these things. And we got her and it was suddenly like having a toddler in the house. And it really changed our ability to go do the things that we enjoyed doing.
The problem was I grew up in the South, and having a big dog was just like a great part of the lifestyle. And so I always wanted a big dog. Always. So the minute that we had like any independence.
Yeah, we immediately got a big dog.
Yeah, it was like the first thing I wanted to do was get a big dog. It's like, well, you're in Chicago now, and it's very different.
Oh, true. That's such a good point, because I had grown up also, in North Carolina with a big chocolate lab. I had always wanted a big dog. I loved having that dog. And yeah, as soon as we got the chance, we did. But it was the wrong time.
Yeah, it was
the right dog for sure.
The right dog, the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I would have said some words to myself about the drinking and about where that was leading. And I think that I might have changed some of my interactions with your family.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. From the beginning, I wish I could change some of the interactions that I had with my family.
To like no interactions with your family?
I wish that I had set some really hard boundaries early on, and I think that that would have resulted in I think that fundamentally that might have led to a disconnect, but I would have wanted to set some firmer boundaries.
Yeah.
I had grown up being treated a certain way, and I only recognized that impacted me. Well, for the longest time, I didn't recognize it at all, but then I only recognized that it impacted me. But the thing about getting into a relationship is that suddenly it impacted both of us. We were both treated that way. And I then had no tools. It didn't feel like any ability to stop it. So you were like, please, I need you to be on my team here. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Like, I don't know what you mean. I feel like we're the same person. We're on the same team. Like, what do you need from me? I didn't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have gone back.
You were being like verbally harassed and abused like all of the time. And you were like, that was happening frequently. And I was like, you shouldn't do this. Like, stop this. Yeah. And you're like, I don't know how. That was basically the crux of that.
I stopped it as soon as I could. But if I could be a grown up and go back and support that young child who was dating you.
The 6-year-old.
The 6-year-old, I would support her a little bit differently.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I would have set some boundaries with members of my family as well in a different way. But as far as like between the two of us, our relationship has been pretty solid. Like I think that like we've had personal issues that we've had to deal with, but there haven't been like any overwhelming things between the two of us that I would change.
Yeah. The other thing is I would tell you things sooner. There were so many things that I waited to tell you. And it's fine. You received those things well when I did tell you. Yeah. And I told you as soon as I felt able to. But there were a lot of things I remember thinking like, I could never share that with anybody. And then a couple years would go by and I'd think back to that moment and then think, I'm ready to share this. Let's go. But I wish that the whole time I had been like, I could do that. I think, again, they came as soon as they could. And we had grown into the people who could receive those things. But
that's the thing with questions like this when you're looking back at the past and like what would you change? It's hard to say because the things that like happened to us or that we went through led us to here.
Yep.
And so I love what you're saying. Like I did that as soon as I could. To the people listening, like you do the things that you can as soon as you're able to. You make those healthy steps. You set those healthy boundaries. Like when you are able to do them. So your mindset on this has been like, maybe I would go back and coach her on something else if I could. because you can't just like make a different decision. You're
Right.
fucking fighting. You're fucking
Yeah.
surviving. You're doing the best that you can with
Yeah.
what you have.
Absolutely. In the context of this question, it's talking about, would you go back and do something different? And I firmly believe I could not. That I did everything I did as soon as I could do it, as soon as things in my family made sense, as soon as I trusted you with those big things, as soon as that happened, I did it. But I couldn't do it before that.
Yeah.
And the only way I can envision this scenario is I can go back and be like a loving adult to that person. And that is what therapy is that we become the adult that we needed. Who
Yeah.
could have been there to support, because those parts of us exist and are real.
There's a lot of forms of therapy which have you kind of like addressing a younger self directly and giving them this guidance. So this is like a good question to kind of spark those thoughts of like, what would you tell yourself when you were 19 or 23 or 27? You know, like what? I just imagine some listeners like, fuck, they're old. Yeah, we are. I feel that. But like, what is the advice? I think for me, it's like I just have a greater sense of self-worth and self-esteem.
Yeah.
So I would expect to be treated better by the people I was working with and by the people I was friends with. And I would have like a higher sense of like, or a better sense of like how my actions were affecting me and the people around me, which is called like growing your frontal cortex by the time you're like past 25.
Your frontal lobe. Yeah.
Yeah, you have like a better understanding of like the consequences of your actions. And those are things that just come with time. There's no amount of like forcing that.
As did like trust in our relationship. Like it came with time. It wasn't that like I could have made that happen in the moment. That it took time to grow in those ways.
Or like so much frustration happening because you didn't fully understand my ADHD and I didn't fully understand your autism.
So true.
But those things were like
true.
relevant factors the entire time.
Yeah.
And they caused a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
And it took us like understanding those things to like better gel as partners.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I recently answered a survey question that's going on. Something autistic moment. A moment in autism. Oh, gosh. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, there was a survey that they were doing about when you found out or were diagnosed as autistic. And they were like, what was that like for you? And I was like, oh, my gosh. Things have been so much easier since then.
Yeah.
It's been so much easier for us to be able to navigate our relationships since knowing those things were true.
Because they were true. Having a name for them just helps us like wrap our arms around it and understand it and know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for our next question?
Yes.
Imagine you discovered I had the ability to turn invisible at will.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Okay, sorry, continue.
Because you don't want to be perceived.
No,
ever.
I don't want to be perceived ever. Invisibility was always my go-to.
She said on a podcast. It's a weird emotional relationship with being perceived around here. Okay, I love that we are already like stating that you can turn invisible at will, because some asshole would be like, well, when do I turn invisible? Can I do it whenever I want? Like, he's having to clarify. He's getting ahead of the overthinkers,
Right.
you know?
Okay, so you can turn invisible at will.
Imagine that, okay? Or imagine you discovered that I could do that.
Oh.
But I hadn't told you until now. How would that affect your trust in me?
I would have no trust in you at all.
Oh, yeah, totally. Trust would be completely shattered between the two of us. And not because I would be worried that you were, like, looking at my butthole while I was taking a shower.
We both know what I do with invisibility.
There's junk in that trunk, you know. You're trying to check it out. I get it. I would be more upset that the principle of, like, honesty and equality. Shut up! Equality was, like, completely broken between us. Of course, with the invisibility side of things, I'd be excited. I'd immediately start capitalizing on it. Like, how can we make money with this?
You would?
And, like, because that's where my brain goes, but I would be, like, horrified that something so life-changing was hidden from me.
This is great. Go invisible anytime you need to. Like, I fully support this.
Yes.
But fucking 10 years of not telling me you were invisible. No, I'm not with that at all. But yeah, again, not about the invasion of privacy. It's the same thing as like the cheating question. It's just, in fact, I could understand that almost a little bit better. I get why there was maybe never a good time to share that.
I feel like that question is supposed to be like particularly triggering to people who have like serious trust issues. Like, I need my time with my phone, or I need my time with my boys.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, a partnership, you shouldn't need that much privacy. Like, you and I have privacy because like we're two adult humans, but like that's a weird thing to start like drawing lines in the sand around to me.
Privacy is really, really important as a relationship is developing, for sure.
Yes.
And then I think down the road, privacy is important where we're communicating about it. Like, I have a lot of anxiety about journaling because it was something that my mom would like look at our diaries or journals. So I never like wrote anything down that mattered. And it would be really important to me if I were to have like a secret diary where I'm trying to like process through some shit. I might be like, hey, Price, I'm trying to process through some shit. I don't want you to read this.
Right.
That's what, there's going to be aspects of privacy in a relationship, even a long-term one. But I know that question is trying to get at privacy, and that's between you and me, not my concern.
I think privacy is important as you're growing a relationship, but you should be growing towards something, right? And you should be growing towards not really needing privacy because you have established trust. I trust you. I trust that if you look at my journal, you'll understand that I'm just working through some shit. And honestly, I trust that you won't because you know that I would prefer not to. And I trust that you're not writing down salacious, juicy little secrets in your journal.
I really want to read.
I'm really trying to get in there, my grubby little hands.
I think that it's important that partners are able to ask for privacy. Between the two of us, not worried about it. I would be very, very hurt, like relationship really broken, if you could go invisible at will all this time and didn't tell me.
What would we do with our newfound power? Oh, it'd be newfound for one of us.
I mean, for me, it's just like the ideal autism superpower. I just don't want to be perceived. I would like go grocery shopping. Could I go grocery shopping with a shopping cart? That might be weird. I would go places with you maybe and not have to be present. I would probably go a lot more places if I could be invisible.
That's true. I could like finally go live the social life that I want with you there.
Yeah.
You know?
People think you're just over in the corner talking to yourself.
He's constantly like, come on. We don't know why. He's just like, come on, come over here. Yeah, he's constantly like talking to himself. It's really fucking weird. I was just thinking, like, how could we, like, promote it on social media? But it wouldn't work at all because people would be like, it's a green screen.
Not great on social media.
Not great on social media. Theft. Could we steal stuff if you were going invisible?
Is that the direction we want to take this?
I'm just trying to make money. How do we make money with this power?
Like a magic trick sort of shows.
I love that like fighting crime has not come up. Magic trick at shows. Yeah, maybe. The question is, do your clothes become invisible or do you have to be naked?
That's tricky. That would make me feel slightly less comfortable going out in public with you, but whatever.
Listener, if you hear somebody whisper, do you like that podcast? We're there. She's there with you right now. Do you like the podcast?
I have a podcast you should check out. I don't have a brain that functions to think of like corrupt things to do with power. I genuinely don't.
You're too pure? Is that what it is?
Yes,
You're
that's it. I'm too pure for this world. To me, it's just like, it would be so great to be invisible and nobody would look at me.
Yeah, you really are thinking about the impact to you, not like the things you could do to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, the pantsing game would be off the chain. You could pants anyone at any time.
No.
For any reason.
Oh, that game was the worst.
Game? The fuck are you talking about? Just talking about pants. Was there a game? Like,
Yeah,
I
people
pants you
did that
3
in
times.
school. No, I just mean that people would do that to
You
each
were
other in school.
homeschooled for a couple of years. Were you getting
I went to
pants at
school
home?
a lot more than you did. No, I went to school a lot more than you did.
You did.
And it was a thing there. And so I would like wear my like a tight belt or have my. I was always worried about preventing that happening.
Really?
I think one person attempted and they weren't able to do anything, and that was the beginning and end of that. But what a
Sexual
horrible
harassment.
Yeah, what a horrible thing to have happen to you at school. Anyway.
But if they were invisible, it would have just felt like your pants mysteriously just fell down.
What corrupt thing would you do with your invisibility power? If we worked through the devastation to our relationship.
I could, at one point, I would have thought of all the ways that I can make people I didn't like make their lives hell. I just don't have like the energy for it. I don't think like I've grown out of that or I'm a better person. I think I'm just lazier.
Counseling superpower. You're trying to tell me how rough things are with, say, your family. I will come with you. I will witness what is happening. We will talk about it.
Be like my little support person just there.
You're doing great.
I think that's interesting. I think that, I mean, you could really scare the shit out of people and you could like, I don't know, follow really famous wealthy people around and like get the codes to their nuclear bunkers so that when the world goes to shit, you can actually get in there, you know?
Sure, you could do that.
That's as evil as I'm getting, you know?
Yeah, I think the biggest deal would be like if we found out that hadn't been told, it would like wreck things. That would be a big deal.
Yeah.
Even going to get...
At this stage in our relationship where there's really no need for privacy between the two of us. I don't really have anything I'm trying to like keep from you. It makes birthday shopping really hard around here.
It does.
It's a real problem for us. Yeah, that would be pretty devastating to the relationship. And then honestly, it's not that great of a superpower. You know, I would much rather be able to fly.
Oh, flying's good.
Yeah.
Flying's good.
Or teleportation. Easy.
As a kid, I always wanted teleportation to exist, but I had some parameters to it. I felt like it could only exist if it was a place you had been before. So my wish was always that teleportation would exist to places that you had been before. Why? If it's existing, can it be anywhere? I don't know. That felt like it needed a rule.
You trying to go to the Atlanta airport? Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question.
Last question.
Ooh, here we go. First little phrase here. Let's say we break up today. Let's say we break up today. Who gets the podcast? The next episode is just shit talking the other.
I couldn't set up this podcast on my own. You would have to get
It's
the
my
podcast.
podcast.
It's your podcast.
So next episode, Ash is mysteriously not here. Okay, let's say we break up today. If you were given the opportunity to erase all your memories of me to spare you from any pain, but it would also remove all the happiness I've brought you, would you do it? Let's do it. Let's answer on 3. 1, 2, 3. No.
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry. I forget it's a podcast. Listeners, I am shaking my head. No, I would not.
Shaking her head. No, this is a podcast. They're listening.
No, absolutely not.
Fuck no. That would be 10 years, dude. 10 years gone. This is better if we've been together for like weeks.
Yeah,
you know, this is better for like we've been together for weeks.
Right,
and
in
it's
our
like toxic as fuck.
Right, in our like 6-month-long relationship, would I? Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think the thing that we've learned about one another is that this relationship is getting a little fucking boring. Just the way I like it.
Just the way I like it.
Boring, stable. You know, invisibility.
I think that a lot of people worry about down the road a relationship getting boring. I think I hear from a lot of clients about like going for the wrong person because there's some excitement or thrill in that. And there's like this real concern around you've had a traumatizing past and now you kind of need that sort of like adrenaline and uncertainty in a relationship for it to feel like something. And I just want to like shout out to really boring relationships. Like there's something so lovely in this, and it doesn't feel like a boring place in which to reside. It is such a happy, delightful, safe place in which to reside.
If you're going for longevity in your relationship, like excitement isn't the best attribute to be seeking. You when I think about like building a home, the traditional like you lay a foundation that's like flat and not exciting.
Not exciting.
It's like a block of like concrete that you're able to build a home on. That's not moving. It's steady. It's constant. It's there. You know it.
Yeah.
You understand it. You can like wrap your mental arms around it, and it's a known thing. There's nothing like mysterious about this relationship that you're building.
Yeah.
You can build on this foundation, and that is something worth coming home to every day.
It is.
The rest of your life is so up for whatever.
There's so much uncertainty in every other aspect of life. And it's nice to face those things with somebody who's a constant.
Yeah.
It's nice to face those things with you.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
It's very thrilling to be in an exciting, like, tumultuous, up and down relationship where we're getting angry and we're shouting and we're having, like, great make-up sex, and that's all very exciting. But it is exhausting. And the minute you try to start, like, building a life, like you said, Ash, like, life is so tumultuous as it is.
Oh, yeah.
That you need the thing that you're building your life from, like that relationship, to be steady. Mm-hmm. You can't have, like, that part of your life also going haywire.
Yeah.
Along with everything else.
Yeah.
Think about how much energy it takes to, like, be in a relationship like that. And then what do you
sure.
have left for the rest of your life? What if things go poorly at your job or something else changes, you know?
Yeah, we can deal with a couple of unstable things at a time, but you need to have also a few things that are solid. And I'll talk to clients where every different aspect of their life feels unstable at once. And they're like, oh, why am I so upset or anxious or whatever all the time? And it's like, oh, you could do one of these things, but you've got them all happening at once. And having, like, a solid, quote unquote, like, boring relationship, having a stable place to come home to, means that for the unpredictable stuff, you're a lot better prepared to handle it. And I think about creating a stable foundation in a way as a therapist as well, that I hope that each session is like a weekly stable place to come back to like catch your breath for an hour, to be able to, like, look at the rest of your life that might be filled with some ups and downs.
And I think it's also important to state that, like, an exciting, neurotic relationship can never be stable, but a stable relationship can be exciting.
Oh yeah, I think there's been so many exciting things that the two of us have shared, that we've gotten to go out and share together. Yeah
There's no limit to it, but it's something that's, like, good and, like, reliable that we can come back to.
And it's the excitement that we pick, right? Like, it's the excitement that we actually want, not, wow, what am I opening the door to today?
So I think what we're really trying to say is we're fucking old.
Old and boring. So tune in next week.
Old and boring. Yeah. I there's so many people that I admire their relationship and want to emulate that. But I also am in a relationship I admire. And I think that that's not been for any lack of effort on our parts. Yeah. And I'm glad to be here with you.
Me too.
And not having to worry about these stupid ass questions.
Done.
Well, I think that about wraps us up for today. Is there anything else on your mind?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Ash, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Price, thank you for your time.
And where might we find you on social media?
Where will we find me?
Did we decide to
I can't remember if we're going to keep doing that or not. But if we are, you can find us at I Married Your Therapist on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And you can find me specifically therapy with _Ash on Instagram. Or you can email us at imarriedyourtherapist@gmail.com.
Send us your questions. We'll be answering them.
Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Well, I don't know how to end if we interrupt the flow of the outro. So
oops. Bye, guys. I love you each individually.
Yeah, she does. She does. She knows all your names. She's invisible right now.
Are you enjoying the podcast?
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time on I Married Your Therapist. I hate it when I get the outro wrong. Like, we do the order of the outro wrong. I'm like, how do we end? Make it stop. Make it stop. It's hurting.
I already did my ending. What else is there?
Okay. Well, that was fun.
We did it again. Go team.
Go team.